Today is Sunday, August 20th, 2023, and this is the Dunkley Report. Tropical storm. Hillary is swirling northward just off the coast of Mexico's Baja California peninsula. It's no longer a hurricane, but still carries so much rain that forecasters say catastrophic and life-threatening flooding is likely in Tijuana, Mexico, Southern California, and points north as far as Idaho. Forecasters say the storm is expected to enter the history books as the first tropical storm to hit Southern California in 84 years, bringing high winds, flash floods, mudslides, isolated tornadoes, and widespread power outages. California Governor Gavin Newsom proclaimed a state of emergency, and President Joe Biden has positioned federal teams in the region with food, water, and other help. Hawaii Governor Josh Green says the future of a Maui community devastated by deadly fire will be determined by its people. Native Hawaiians and others from Lahaina say Green is moving too quickly to rebuild what was lost. They say the grief is still raw. The governor says rebuilding will take years and billions of dollars, but it will be restored the way the people want. The number of people killed rose by 3 to 114 on Friday. Green says as the search continues, visitors must avoid West Maui, but he says they're welcome in other parts of the island and the state. Firefighters battling wildfires in western Canada have received help from reinforcements and milder weather after the nation's worst fire season on record destroyed structures, fouled the air with thick smoke, and prompted the evacuation of tens of thousands of residents. But the firefighters were nowhere close to declaring victory Saturday, especially with drier and windier weather forecast for the coming days. No deaths have been reported. Officials say a majority of residents have evacuated. Yellowknife, the Northwest Territories' capital, and firefighters have kept a wildfire 6 miles from the city. British Columbia Premier David Eby has declared an emergency for the entire province, where more than 30,000 people are under evacuation orders due to encroaching fires. A Russian missile strike killed 7 people and wounded 129 others on Saturday in the city center of Chernihiv, the regional capital of the northern province of the same name, the acting mayor said. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said a theater and a university were hit. Zelensky is visiting Sweden for the first time since the full-scale Russian invasion of his country. Zelensky met Swedish government officials in Harpsund, about 75 miles west of Stockholm. He will also meet Sweden's King Carl XVI Gustaf and Queen Sylvia. Meanwhile, President Vladimir Putin visited top military officials in the city of Rostov-on-Don, near the Ukrainian border. When Donald Trump's private jet made a loop above the Iowa State Fair before his visit last weekend, it was more than just a gesture to the hundreds of supporters on the ground, or to a few rival candidates. It was a reminder that the 4-time indicted former president casts a Boeing 757-size shadow over the race for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. The Associated Press spoke with more than 40 Iowa Republicans at the fair. Some, who plan to attend January's caucuses, said they'll support Trump even if he's convicted of a crime. Others are adamant the time has come to pivot from the figure who reshaped their party. The race remains fluid. A sister's choice to donate her brother's body for research is helping doctors learn how to one day use pig organs to save human lives. Mary Miller Duffy struggled with the decision after her brother's sudden death, but is glad she agreed. At NYU Langone Health, a pig kidney has worked properly in his body for over a month and counting, a record. thousands of people die awaiting a transplant because of a dire shortage of donated organs. NYU's experiment offers important lessons as U.S. regulators consider whether to allow formal studies of pig kidneys in living patients. Thousands of migrants from the West African country of Mauritania have arrived in the U.S. in recent months, following a new route taking them to Nicaragua and up through the southern border. Previously, those fleeing Mauritania entered through Brazil and took a treacherous jungle passage or risked their lives on boats to Europe. The Nicaragua route doesn't require a visa. That fact is circulating on TikTok, where travel agencies and guides advertise trip packages. Many Mauritanians say that's how they learned of the route. Some say they're fleeing anti-black racism by the Arab-led government. Others hope for economic opportunities. After turning themselves in at the border, many make their way to Cincinnati, where a small, vibrant Mauritanian community welcomes them. Experts say a central Kansas police chief was on legally shaky ground when he ordered the raid of a weekly newspaper. A former federal prosecutor added Friday that the raid may have been a criminal civil rights violation, and he'd probably have the FBI look into it. Some legal experts believe the August 11th raid on the Marion County Records offices and its publisher's home violated a federal privacy law that protects journalists from newsroom searches. Some believe it violated a Kansas law that makes it difficult to force reporters and editors to disclose their sources or unpublished material. The police chief has defended it as legal. Across the developing world, many countries are fed up with America's dominance of the global financial system, and especially the power of the dollar. Their grievances will be aired next week as Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and other emerging market countries in the BRICS bloc meet in Johannesburg, South Africa. But gripping about King Dollar is easier than actually deposing it as the de facto world currency. The dollar is by far the most used currency in global business, and has shrugged off past challenges to its preeminence. Despite repeated talk of the BRICS countries rolling out their own currency, no concrete proposals have emerged in the run-up to the summit. Bryce Harper and the Phillies hit Williamsport, Pennsylvania, on Sunday to play the Washington Nationals in the annual Major League Baseball Little League Classic at 366-seat historic Bowman Field. The field is just a 6-mile trip from the complex where the Little League World Series is underway, with kids full of big league dreams. MLB is banking on those kids and others like them to fuel the sport's growth. MLB says ticket buyers are younger, more teens are watching the game, and social media accounts, such as Jomboy Media, generate big traffic numbers with kids looking for snappy highlight breakdowns. Harper pushed for a game in Cooperstown, New York, to help celebrate the game. This has been the World News for Sunday, August 20th, 2022. Thanks again for joining us at the Dunkley Report.